All right, welcome to the first day of Math C. We're going to start our units with a stats lesson. Well, this first unit is stats. So we're going to just go ahead and dive in. So today we're going to go ahead and discuss what kind of data collection methods there are. So ways to collect data. There are 3 different ways to collect data: observational study, sample survey, and experiment. An observational study is when characteristics of members of some of the population are studied and conclusions are drawn from the data collected. So if we take a look at this, an example of this is to see who buys candy before they check out at Walmart, so while they're standing right in line. The reasons we know, ways to help us determine it's an observational study, is that it's watched. You're not influenced by others. You're just kind of sitting there and just observing. The second type of way to collect data is called the sample survey. This is when a subset, which means a small population, a small set of the population, is selected and they're asked some stuff. So, for example, say we've to try and ask the juniors who likes who likes pizza over popcorn. So the way to tell it's a sample survey is to ask specific, you're looking for specific answers, and this is typically done by asking something, whether it be given out in a piece of paper or just, hey, do you like pizza or popcorn? And lastly, an experiment. That's where it's actively done. You're trying to determine some answers. So who works better with caffeine or without caffeine? Can you actually perform better at work with caffeine or without? So again, you're actively involved with the process, and you're wanting to prove something works over something else. Oop, too many. Okay, next we're going to talk about determining whether something is a sample survey, experiment, or an observational study. So a group of researchers combed their hair, put on makeup, while they sat at one of the sinks, and they determined who washed their hands by just sitting there and recording the data. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm looking for keywords. So I see that they combed their hair. Well, that's not really helping me. They watched and recorded. Okay, so I see that keyword watch there, so I'm going to say observational study because of the fact that they watched something happen. Next one. The psychology department at a university asked a group of 1999 graduates on how they perceived the value of their education. So basically, they went out and asked people what they thought. So, sample survey, experiment, or observational study? Sample survey. They went ahead and they asked the group what they thought. They asked their opinion. So whenever that's done, it's a sample survey. All right, a group of students was selected to test the effectiveness of a new study technique. Some of the students were asked to study in a quiet room while eating mint-flavored Lifesavers, and others were asked to study in a quiet room without anything. All students were then given a test over the material they studied, and their scores were recorded. This one's an experiment. They wanted to prove something. They wanted to see whether or not people did better with the Lifesavers versus the non-Lifesavers. All right, sometimes some stuff works better than others. When do you think a sample survey would work best? When you need specific answers. You want to specifically find something out. So that would be like, hey, who should be homecoming queen? Who should be homecoming king? Where do you want to go on your senior class trip? What about an experiment? Well, it's going to be when you want to prove something. You want to prove that they scored better. You want to prove that they don't need caffeine to work. You want to prove something. Okay, so same kind of idea on the next ones. We're going to decide what it is. And the thing that I really want to point out is that we need to justify our answers on this one. So you're going to want to make sure when we get to your homework later that you're fully reading all of the directions, because hint, hint, you may or may not have to justify why you think something. Okay, so what percentage of teenagers leave the water running while they brush their teeth? Do you guys think that's going to be survey, experiment, or observation? I'm going to go ahead and say, oh, okay, that's still Goodbye, Mark. I'm going to say sample. You're going to ask everyone. Think about it. Yes, you could potentially do observational, but that means you're going to have to sit there in their home while they brush your teeth. Little creepy. You can't really test it because, again, you have to be with them to do it, which, again, still find a little creepy. So I'm going to go with sample survey because you're going to have to ask people to find out. Okay, next one. Which of the two drugs is more effective, at preventing nausea following the onset of a migraine? What do you think? Experiment. You're going to have to test it to see if the drug actually helps or not. You want to find out if giving the drug helps getting the headache or not. Or, helps with preventing nausea or not. Next one. Who has more numbers stored in their cell phones? Females or male students? This one might be a little bit different than what you think. I'm going to say sample survey because you're going to have to ask everyone. If not, you're going to have to attempt to try and count all of their contacts in their phones without them watching. You can't really test it because you're not saying, is it going to be male or female? You're not going to say males have it versus females have it. You just want to know this answer. You want to know the specific answer, so therefore it's a sample survey. Okay, what % of drivers come to a complete stop sign near a local elementary school? Observational. You're going to have to watch and see who actually stops. You could potentially give a sample survey. However, some people may or may not lie on that one. So this one you actually could watch because you can stand outside. You're not creepily in their house. You can actually just stand in public and watch it happen. All right, last one. Does printing suggested tip amounts on the bottom of a restaurant bill increase the average amount that the customers leave in tips? So basically that's saying, if I suggest the amount of tip you should leave, or you can leave that amount of tip or more, or maybe not even that tip at all. Experiment. You want to prove to see if it happens or you want not. You want to prove to see if by printing it out, do people leave tips versus not tips. All right, that's all I have for day 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thanks.